Culture. I'm Pio, and this evening I have the pleasure of speaking with Mr. Oscar, one of the founders, one of the creators of the upcoming The Ethereans NFT project, and one of the advisors on the project. What an honor, Mr. Tony Herrera. How's it going, fellas?
Hello, guys. How are
Hey,
you?
thank you for having us.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Yeah, you guys are welcome anytime. So, definitely excited to know about this project. We're going to look at some of the art. We're going to take a look at the roadmap and just kind of talk about where you guys see the project going. How did you guys kind of, come up with this idea, and what's sort of like the high level pitch for the project?
Well, the idea is it's about an alien race from the planet crypto. It's kind of complex because my brother and me were talking about all these alien projects that we see, the NFT projects, and we actually wanted to create something related to space quite for a time ago. So we started to think, and I started to draw on my notebook, and so we created these aliens because one day we were watching the news, and we saw these monoliths starting to appear on various places of the planet. So yeah, the first Ethereum came as a comedy, a parody about these monoliths, and then we started to create more and more and more of these characters. So yeah, but basically it started as a inner joke for us, and and it just got bigger and bigger and bigger. And then when we entered to the NFT space, we started to ask ourselves, what if we create a collection with these aliens? And then we met with Tony, we started to speak about this idea. Well,
Awesome, awesome. Go ahead, Tony.
Yeah, so I became aware of Oscar and his brother Raul, who were very talented 3D artists and graphic designers through some of Oscar's work in Foundation. I think I ended up finding a interview from Nick NFT, who did an interview of Oscar, or profiled Oscar, and I went into Foundation and actually loved his work. One of it was, at that time, it was the unemployed alien. So the unemployed alien is kind of a one of the first intros that I had to their work, and so then I started looking at their work, and so I ended up bidding on Oscar's work on Foundation, and ended up winning the auction. I think I was bidding with another punk, which is Punk 4156, and so then after I won the auction, I ended up DMing Oscar, and then we struck up a conversation. First, for both of us are Mexican. They live in Monterrey, Mexico, and I live in LA, but I'm born in Mexico, and so we kind of struck it off, and you kind of like the whole surprise. Oh, you speak Spanish? Yes, and it's see, and then it's like, so we went back and forth, and then we had a number of we've had since then a number of talks over different, whether it's Discord or video conferences, and so we started talking about the Ethereans, and I was intrigued by the project initially, and then as they kind of mapped out the storyline and what it is, and I'll let Oscar speak about that. But yeah, I was really enthused by it. So that was kind of like the introduction to their work, and then they've gone on to do some project work. It was kind of delayed because not delayed, but it was kind of put back because they were doing some work for some prominent other projects in the space, a lot of 3D artists work, and some drops that they were working on. So then once they were finished with those, we were able to hunker down and kind of lay out the roadmap for launching the Ethereans.
Awesome. And we already have people in the audience asking about the relationship with Ether cards. So, definitely looking forward to covering that. That's so cool, how you guys were able to connect, and that, Tony, you were just, really looking to collect Oscar's work. I think a lot of people are new to the NFT space now. We're seeing, record numbers of people coming into the space. When you look at, OpenSea's like bar graphs over the performance over the past few months, it really is astonishing. And obviously, Tony, you're a punk owner. I know you've been in the space for a while. Oscar, I see that you have a punk as well. It's becoming clear that people that just know how to operate and know how to put the work, effort, and like, the value into projects are the ones that are ultimately winning now, given how saturated the market is. And we're just seeing, 10 to 15 new drops a day. I'd love to hear about the roadmap for Ethereans and, just get some ideas on what separates Ethereans, against the other projects that are coming into the space right now.
Okay. Well, basically, what we think that separates the Ethereans for the rest of the project is that this is a 3D generated project. So we can see ton of projects of different projects, but it's 2D art. It's basically, I don't want to say the word easier, but it's the workflow is easier because you don't have the render times and these technical specific things to deal with. So what we are trying to do with the Ethereans is to create high-end pieces with textures, with lighting, and something that you want to keep, if even if you don't get the Ethereum you want. So we want to push the art into the front. And basically, what we are trying to do with the roadmap is to create a whole universe. Let's say that we don't want to sell only the avatars or the profile pictures. We want to create toys. We want to create video games for the metaverse and for the traditional platforms such as PC, Xbox, and so. And we also want to push the tokenomics part, because I know, or we know, that utility is like the most important thing of a project. Because why would we create something that works for nothing? So we want to create utility on this project. So we want to take care of the tokenomics, the animated content, because we are fundraising a studio with these avatars, with this project. And we want to create for the Ethereum story. And as like Tony said, he won a bid of one of my projects, which is called the Unemployed Alien. And we have plans for that project as well. So basically, what we are trying to create here is a studio, which I think we will call the Chaos Duo Studio. Rallsen, Raul, and me always had this like dream of creating something like DreamWorks or Pixar, or an animation studio that brings to life these ideas we have on our heads. So basically the roadmap is focused on create this this whole studio that can create and keep creating more and more interesting stories.
Yeah, Pio. So one of the things that I think is interesting for me as an advisor to the project is, Raul and Oscar are already very talented animated artists, and for this particular project, the type of file that's coming out. So you have an avatar project. So it is in many respects an avatar project, but it's coming already with a very, very robust file system, right? So you're going to get the object file. So if somebody wants to 3D print their Ethereum, that's going to be very, very very much possible, because it's the files will already be there, right? But the roadmap for the Ethereans is kind of much more than that, and I don't want to divulge too much right now, because we're still ironing out all the details. But there is some utility to the Ethereans, as Oscar mentioned, that will surprise many. And just to touch on the question that somebody asked about, how does Ether cards play a role into this drop? Ether cards is really just I'm full disclosure. I'm one of the 10 founders of Ether cards. And Ether cards is is a very near and dear project to me as well. And Ether cards platform is still rolling out, and it'll roll out pretty soon in terms of the gamification of NFTs. And that's where Ether cards will be a partner with us in this. There's a reason why Ether cards is getting access to the pre-sale that will happen on September the 1st, and that's going to take place on September the 1st on the 9th. I'm sorry, at September the 1st at noon, PST, Pacific Standard Time. And the first 1,000 members of the channel Discord for the Ethereans, as well as the Ethercard holders or Ethercard Discord channel members will also have access to the pre-sale. And so Ethercards is I'm friends with the team at Ethercards. I showed them the Ethereum project. They were very much liked the project. They liked some of the roadmap features that we dealt with, that we shared with them. So we're looking forward to that partnership. We have other partnerships that already been have been also confirmed. We have one with Kevin Wu of Greatcraft. So there are some other projects that we've already spoken to that will have kind of a play, if you will, within the utility of the Ethereans in the metaverse, right? So that's something that is already in works. And as Oscar mentioned, Chaos Duo runs a full service animated graphic studio out of Monterey, and they've already, like I mentioned, and I'll leave it up to Oscar if he wants to discuss them. There are already prominent projects that have already used their services, right? So these are two very talented artists that are doing work in the space, that have already done work for other projects. And so for me, it was a kind of like a no-brainer to support them and to advise them. So for us, as a team, we're going to try to roll out a number of things. The roadmap is still yet to be determined, but for the most part, we're going to do our best to bring utility to the Ethereans and some interesting aspects that may surprise many in conjunction with Ethercards, because we do plan a gamification, if you will, and a monetization of the Ethereans.
Well, it sounds like there's a lot of fun stuff that people are going to have to find out. I understand that you guys can't talk about anything yet, but I just want to point out, like, if there's any new listeners or any new viewers that are just like maybe a couple weeks into the NFT space or a couple months into the NFT space, there's a lot of polish that I'm hearing when I listen to what Oscar and Tony talk about with this project. And I think that comes with the experience and time that they have, in NFT specifically. I love the fact that you guys have that file that comes with your purchase of the NFT that's ready for a 3D print, because I think that when I look at this, it reminds me a lot of these NFT projects that are really starting to kind of get legs underneath them for just the purpose of their IP, right? So, one project that comes to mind right away, Micah Johnson's project, the Aku series. When I think about that one, I think that project is already bigger than the artist. It's quickly becoming bigger than NFTs. It's been commissioned for a movie, and it sounds like you guys have the same ideas. So, Oscar, when you were going into this, how important was it for you to frame that you wanted, video games and toys and, all of these things that just come from really strong IP and kind of thinking bigger than just your typical NFT project?
Well, yeah. Basically, Raul and me, we have always dreamed about creating toys. We have friends that are toy creators. They develop from tiny projects to large scale projects. So we started to play with 3D printing and to prototyping our own designs. So once we realized that we know how is the workflow for creating the prototypes, and we have some advice from our friends, we started to think that this is not a so hard task to develop, because we only have to prototype and then find some people that already have the structure to process these toys. So we have the knowledge and the know-how to create the pieces to be able to be printed. And well, that's something that we have been dreaming for quite a time. I'm talking about 5 years, 6 years. So we have this too clear by now. So the toys is it's something that we have under radar as the first steps of the project, because we have the knowledge and we have the people that will help us. And regarding the animation, like a big scale studio, it's hard because you need extra hands. We know that this is something that we can't do alone. So the investment we will do for this end is it's about the animation. So we are planning to get more hands, more talent to our ecosystem, because an animation studio requires more than two guys just creating 3D models and doing basic animations. We need like scenario developers. We need a lot of stuff from the writers for the story, which I have already something written on my notepad. But yeah, it's something that sound, and it's like complex, but we know that the strategy is to have more hands, more talent that want to push this project with us, and we're funding this with the community. So we are open to bring more people from our Discord channel or the NFT community to push this project forward. So yeah, basically we don't want to, like we say in Mexico, we don't want to eat the cake alone. So yeah, we're planning to make this a community project, and we with the right advisors such as Tony and our friends that create toys, and I have also friends that are very talented in the animation scene. So I think we have a pretty good future for this if we do this with the community.
Absolutely. Well, fantastic. And, I think that a lot of projects have talked about that, but I think it's pretty clear when you start to look at these pieces, these art pieces, and the potential IP there, that this is something that could and then you look at the team and the track record of the team, it's something that could absolutely, come to life in a very real way. Off air, we were talking about, the importance of moving quickly in the NFT space, and it definitely seems like you guys have that in mind too. So that's something people should keep in mind when looking at the project as well. We have one question here in the chat that I don't know if I think you might have touched upon it, but maybe you could go into it in a little bit more detail. Joey asked, do you render all of your art pieces before they're minted? Then during the minting process, they are randomly selected? I don't know if that question, makes sense. So basically asking, are they rendered before, or yeah, I think you understand.
Yeah,
Oscar, you want to take that?
yeah. So basically, all the pieces are rendered before. We created a script to randomize inside the software we are using, that is Cinema 4D. So we had this developer to write a script to randomize each piece and render. So yeah, we will have all the pieces done before the minting, and then the people can just go and mint a piece, and they will get a randomized piece. It's not happening on the minting. It's like created before, because we can do that with the current technology, as far as I know, because so to make the Ethereans look like realistic or like toys, is that we're using Octane render for creating hyper realistic textures. So we can't do this on the minting. We have to pre-create everything. So yeah, if that answered the question, we are creating everything like before, because we have this Octane render situation, that it's something that it's heavy for processing these images. And yeah, basically we are doing this like this because the technical stuff to work with are not yet like web native or web based. So yeah.
Yeah, Pio. And one of the other things that keep in mind is that once the Ethereans are all minted, the files will be available to the holders, right? So you'll have a way of connecting with your wallet, and then basically being able to have access to the files. So the object files or the Vox files, any files that are associated with the Ethereans to either print or to play in the metaverse or whatever, those files will subsequently be available. So there is a comment in here that I think it's Zyphy Art. It says 3 years of with no stream, and y'all trying to starve us to death, right? And the reality is that he's not lying, right? So part of you see this with the project that just recently launched with Stoner Cats. Animation studios require a lot of resources, and like Oscar alluded earlier, the idea of doing animation and the idea of doing a game or anything like that, all of that requires resources, one, and two, it requires talent, right? And so you need to be able to hire your designers, you need to be able to hire your animators. And that's what the Oscar alluded to earlier, is that, you know, a lot of the resources that we're trying to get are essentially around that mindset, right? We once we have the resources, we can then allocate those resources and get it done. And it's just a kind of a race against the clock to deliver to the community, but that's our intent.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, Zyphe's making a joke because we haven't streamed on this channel in 3 days, and he's considering one day in real life as being 1 year in NFT. So
yeah, that's crypto Twitter. Yeah, but I do think it's also important there are a lot of projects out there that have done avatars that have, you know, that are proposing to deliver a game, or whether it's something in the metaverse, whether it's animation or content creation. And the reality is that all these projects run into the same thing, right? Which is like, at the end of the day, they need the resources and they need to find the manpower to be able to do it. And so, you know, so it's important that for us, it's very important that we launch this project in a way that that we're mindful of the fact that our community is going to support us, but at the same time, we also want to be mindful that we want to deliver to them on a timely basis.
Absolutely. And you know, someone asked about how many will be minted. I know that a lot of this stuff is still shaking out. Is there anything that you can share about either the structure of the drop, you know, the number of mints, or like the traits or rarity?
Sure. Oscar?
Yeah, well, we will, there will be only 10K to be minted, and we will keep 1K to our project wallet, so we can use those Ethereans for giveaways, for maybe for the animated content, or yeah, basically to make something or create something that benefits the community. So available for purchase only 10K.
Yeah. So okay. It's 11,000 PO. Yeah. And it's 10,000 will be available for mint. For the pre-sale, right now we have decided that pre-sale mint will be capped at 4,000. So those will be capped at 4,000, and then once we have those, then basically we have another 6,000 that would be available for mint, plus the 1,000 that is left by the team for community. But yeah, so you have a total supply of 11,000 Ethereans, 1,000 held by the team, and the other 10,000 out in the open public.
Awesome. And you guys talked a little bit about pre-mint. We touched upon it earlier, like the reward to the first 1,000 in the Discord and the relationship with Ether cards. You know, there's so many new people coming into the space. Tony, could you give a little context as to what Ether cards is, you know, as a founder, and just dive a little bit deeper into the, you know, what you can talk about with regards to the relationship between Ethereans and Ether cards? Yeah.
So Ether cards is a gamification, NFT gamification platform that is, you know, going to be rolling out its platform. It's already done. Ether cards has already done a number of very prominent drops. They did the LaMelo Ball drop. They've done some. They just recently did some work with Mike Tyson. They were part of the Steve Aoki's drop. So they have their own NFT avatar project with Dirty Robot. So the whole idea with Ether cards is that Ether cards is both a marketplace and also a gamification platform. So in terms of gamification, think of a way to do, say, a bingo around an NFT. Let's say you collect a certain number of NFTs, you can essentially get a prize. There's a number of other aspects that are brought into Ether cards, but it's basically a monetization, a way for artists to monetize their NFTs in a different way than the regular marketplace, but also a gamification platform. And like any other projects we talked about building, Ether cards had its public sale. And once again, because this is crypto Twitter and things are just slow in terms of development, talk to any Solidity dev and you know, they'll tell you how hard it is. And so this project is, for those who aren't familiar with Ether cards background, Ether cards initially was a way of onboarding new users onto Ethereum. So you would actually take a physical card, like a Visa debit card, and you could actually preload it or scan the QR code and load it with Ethereum and give it to somebody. And that was the way that a lot of people were, in the early years, were onboarded to Ether by having them have an Ether card. And then once the NFT ecosystem opened up, Ether cards kind of pivoted and is now aiming to be a monetization and gamification platform for NFTs.
Awesome. And yeah, I mean, like, we're just seeing more and more. It's becoming very clear that NFTs are kind of opening this door to creating original IP and then having this utility added to it, whether it's gamification or some of these other avenues. And it does seem like you guys are kind of, checking most of those boxes here, which again, I think is a sort of like, I acknowledge your experience when I look at that. Someone asked, is there a limit to how many can be minted by one person? Is it one per person? So I guess this will be kind of the last question about the structural process, but has that been ironed out yet, Oscar? Is there any info that you can share on that?
Yeah, for the pre-sale, for early adopters, will be 2 per wallet with a maximum capacity of 4,000. So yeah, you can get 2, and on the public sale you will be able to mint 20 per wallet.
20 per wallet. Okay. Well, that's definitely solid. If any whales want to get in and mix it up with 20 mints, they totally can. So we have a tentative date at this point for the drop. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah. So our tentative date, our pre-sale once again is September 1st, noon, 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And our public sale right now is tentatively scheduled for Friday, which would be September the 3rd. And we're looking at also the same time frame. So around September 3rd, tentatively scheduled for noon Pacific Standard Time.
Okay, so coming up next Friday, basically, and obviously, you guys talked about before, like there's rewards for being one of the first 1,000 members in the Discord. I have to imagine that after we do this video and we do our Twitter space later, that Discord is going to fill up. So if anybody is interested in the project, definitely get involved on the Discord. I put a link to, or I put the handle of the Ethereans Twitter, and you can get to the Discord from there. Tony, Oscar, first of all, thanks so much for coming. Any other thoughts? Anything else people should know about the Ethereans project?
Oscar, you want to go first?
Well, yeah, maybe I want to share that we are collaborating with some people that we will mention later about the story. I think the biggest asset we have for our project is the storytelling. So I have already some of the story or the main storyline written. So expect something cool regarding the storyline, because we are attempting to create video games and animation. So yeah, the story will be once we launch the minting or the avatar project, we are starting to work more closely to this end. So yeah, the story will be a huge part, and we want to let the community know that their ideas can be useful for the storytelling. So we will be announcing on the sneak peek channel on our Discord the storyline, and the token holders will be able to apport or to say or to bring ideas to the table, so we can add more value to this story.
Yeah, Pio. So as Oscar alluded to, I mean, when I started learning more about the Ethereans, I really love the storyline around the Ethereans and what it it's a very universal story, number one, but I think it's also really going to be fun to include in the content coming down the road other projects, right? Because we are talking to other projects, and so imagine, like Oscar mentioned, the whole idea here is a full studio that is able to do all sorts of animation and content creation. So we're really looking forward to, we're kind of excited to get this public sale concluded, the pre-sale and the public sale concluded, because it's going to give us an opportunity to sort of hunker down and start creating, which is going to be a lot of fun. And like I said, Oscar and Raul have already created content for other projects, and those have been really really well done. And so we're kind of looking forward to them being able to hunker down and create some of their own content. So it's going to be pretty exciting.
Absolutely. Like Dave, definitely, for people that are new, you should recognize that this is, a project taking advantage of the NFT use case of using it to raise money to go ahead and build to add more value to the people that invested their money in the project at first. Like this is really how NFTs are supposed to operate. It's, taking Kickstarter or Patreon out of the picture and actually giving people something that has value, that if it appreciates in value, they can elect to sell for a profit. But if they hold it, the idea is that value will be, given to them by the creators via, the funds that are raised by the project. That's obviously a very simple, fundamental way to look at it, but I think it's an easy way for people to think about NFTs and understand it. Tony, Oscar, really appreciate you guys coming on. Everyone, make sure that you follow Tony and Oscar on Twitter. Their handles are right there on screen. The handle to the Ethereans is just at the Ethereans on Twitter. Will lead you to all of the links. Sounds like the tentative dates for the drops are next Friday. And we will be doing a Twitter Spaces in a few hours as well to, kind of speak to a different audience in a different form. But yeah, Tony, Oscar, thanks so much for coming. Really excited for the project.
Thank you for having us. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely.